time. He nursed the drink while he waited for the steam to rise. When he climbed through the curtain into the punishing needles, his mind was already clearing. Now, in Rappaport's anteroom, the 2 tumblers of gin were dying inside him, and a burrowing thirst had taken over. He needed a drink. His hands clenched his knees. When he looked down, he saw that the suit pants and jacket didn't match. Both were dark gray, but one was Glen plaid, the other herringbone. Although the light in the room at the University Club was poor, this hadn't happened before. Rappaport's secretary came in and announced that the judge was ready to see them. Busy signing papers, Rappaport took a full minute before indicating the 2 empty chairs that faced him, still not looking up from his desk. It was September and the weather was warm, but the judge had on a 3-piece suit with a gold chain looped through the vest and black judicial robes open over that. A few strands of gray hair had been carefully combed and plastered across a white scalp. He could have been a child in the tall chair. Seeley would bet that when Rappaport told people he was a Supreme Court justice, he didn't bother to add that there were almost 400 other Supreme Court justices in the state. Because of a historical quirk in the way courts were designated in New York State's judicial hierarchy, the Supreme Court was in fact among the lowest courts in the judicial system, not the highest. Rappaport read from the paper in front of him. Miniatello v. Weber Properties. When he finally looked up, his expression was a scowl. Where are your clients, counselors? Where's Mr. Miniatello? Where's Mr. Weber? The voice was nasal, aggrieved. Surely when he scheduled this meeting, my clerk reminded you of the standing order. Your clients must be present any time there is a settlement conference before a justice of the Supreme Court. Mr. Emmert, you have practiced here long enough to know that. It's a new requirement, Your Honor, but a mandatory one. I have consulted with my client on the point, Your Honor, and he has agreed to waive a personal appearance. This is not a requirement that can be waived, Counselor. The 2 could have been volleying at tennis. I want your clients here. I see too many lawyers rejecting settlements that if the client knew the details, the client would gladly accept. And you, Mr. Rappaport's tiny fingers, a busy rodent's, sorted through a pile of papers, searching for an appearance sheet or an appointment diary. This was play acting, Seeley knew, the way a small man bullies a newcomer to his domain. The judge knew his name. It was on the same sheet as the names of the parties. Finally, Rappaport found the paper he pretended to be looking for. Mr. Seeley, what about your client? Is he waiving too? He was detained, Your Honor, but he's on his way. Seeley had made a detour from his room at the University Club to his office on 6th Avenue in Midtown to collect a briefcase, and there had fallen into a long conversation with one of the mail boys about the Mets losing a doubleheader the day before. Leaving the building in a hired car, he forgot his promise to pick up Gary Miniatello at the sculptor's loft so they could review strategy for the settlement conference. Only when he was walking up the granite courthouse steps, already late for the meeting with Rappaport, did Seeley remember the promise. He made a rushed call for Miniatello to meet him in chambers. So, we shall sit here and wait for Mr. Seeley's client. Seeley had dealt with difficult judges before, but he had the feeling that Rappaport was going to be a special challenge. The judge swiveled in his chair to Emmert. You're Fordham, aren't you? 2 years behind Your Honor. Your name still echoed in the hallways. All the time I was there, the professors were still talking about when you destroyed the Columbia team in the moot court competition. Rappaport beamed. Harvard, too, in the finals. The Jesuits field a fine moot court team. Where did you attend school, Mr. Seeley? Canisius. The Jesuit school, upstate? Seeley nodded. I didn't know they had a law school. They don't. I went to college there. I was asking where you went to law school, Rappaport said. Seeley knew that's what he had meant. Harvard. I thought so. An Ivy Leaguer. The judge paused to think if he could make something more of that, and instead made a show of studying